Call the meeting to order. Just to advise everyone, this meeting is being recorded. If there's anyone in attendance that recording this meeting, there being none, if you join me with the pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I don't believe we have any special recognitions. Are there any citizens' comments? There being none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the regular session minutes for March 6, 2013.
I'll make that motion to accept the Wednesday, March 6th minutes as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we'll move on to the student representatives report.
Hi. Happy first day of spring, first of all. No more snow, hopefully.
Made it.
It's the new try started on Monday, March 18th, and so there's not much going on just yet, but I'm sure until the next meeting there'll be a lot more going on. But the spring sports just started up, and Mr. Auburn is tomorrow at 6 o'clock, but it's going to be very, very busy because we've been already selling a lot of tickets, so I would get there 5:30 or earlier. I'd advise everyone because it's going to be very packed. Thank
So
you.
that's tomorrow, Mr. Auburn?
Yeah, tomorrow night at
It's
6.
a big event.
6.
I'd like to take a second. Last weekend we had a production of South Pacific, the high school musical, and we'd like to thank our directors, Miss Virginia Bailey, head of the music department, well, Mr. P's head, but band class, and then our visitor from Tantascwa, Mr. Eric Von Blyken. They both did a great job running the whole show, and it was a great success. We'd like to thank everyone who took part. Speaking on the musical note, the All-Town Concert's coming at us fast. That's Wednesday, April 10th. So you gotta be. I'm not sure if they're I don't think we're selling tickets yet, but I'm sure all the classes will give out the forms as they usually do because All-Town gets pretty packed. And this week at high school lunches for the Relay for Life Cancer program, we're doing a penny war. So all our students are fighting pennies or points. Anything else is against. And let's see who wins.
Sounds great. We can now move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the South Pacific production was truly phenomenal, so congratulations to all involved. This evening, we have two groups from Auburn High School here to request your approval on trips, both of which have been taken previously. So with your approval, the first one, I'd like to invite Mr. Dan Creamer and Mrs. Shirley DiPasquale. If you remember last year, for the first time, students went to Madrid, Spain, and actually stayed there for a couple of weeks with the students returning to spend some time in Auburn, and they visited us at a late June school committee meeting. So I will turn it over to Mr. Creamer and Mrs. DiPasquale.
Okay. Yes, we'd like to propose, the trip again, the exchange homestay next year with a couple changes. The timing of the trip. First, the Spanish students, kids from Madrid, would come in September instead of during the summer. They would come around September 7th approximately and stay 15 days. We feel that's the most exciting time of the year, school-wise. The weather's still nice, plenty of activities going on, and it's also easier for them. And then we would like to go on a return trip in April as opposed to February, tied to the April vacation as opposed to the February vacation. It would also be easier for them, and also we would get better weather also. Because they have an English exchange also. Last year when we went, the English kids left 2 days before we got there. So, and my friend Christina runs both exchanges, so it was really stressed. So this might work out better. The cost of the trip is approximately, well actually I know it's $2,100, and similar to a few years ago. When we first came, it was 2 years ago when we came to talk to you about it, and it was about $1,800 then. And the students would live with families in Madrid in that same neighborhood, and then they would come and live with families in same families. Well, actually vice versa. They would come here first, and then we would go in April, stay with them. And we would propose, during that time in, September, we wouldn't have as many activities going on because they'd be coming to school, and there'd be plenty of things after school, but we would like to do at least go to New York on a Saturday, like we did last June, and maybe run a field trip. Maybe my international club would run that trip early. Maybe we would go to Boston for the day, or to the PBDS Museum, or one of the trips we've made before. But those are some of the things we've thought about. Also, Christina, when she was here last summer, she and her colleague went to Boston a number of times on their own to get to know Boston better. They did the Freedom Trail. They visited a lot of the historical sites that we suggested to them, so that she could maybe take the students, meet at school and then go to the train station or whatever and go in. She'd lead the students in, so they wouldn't be at school every day. Just like Mrs. Di Pasquale and I did in Madrid. Some days we took them. It was a little easier for us because we're already in Madrid, but we would take the kids to the Prado Museum or the center of Madrid, the Plaza Mayor, and places like that. So we weren't always at school, to mix it up. That's pretty much all. You guys are very familiar, except for maybe Mr. Scobie, I'm not sure. But if there are any questions, we'd like to, ready to answer.
I know I'm good, just because you were so thorough.
Yeah.
We went through it before. George, I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, just a quick question.
Sure.
It says here the cost of the trip is $2,000. Did you say it was $2,100?
Yeah, I said approximately. I didn't know the exact price when I wrote this.
Okay.
It's $2,100, and one of the advantages this year with ACIS is the company that I buy the tickets with, because it's easier in a sense because they supply the trip insurance and health insurance. It's included. I mean, you can always get a higher insurance if you want one, but that's included. And also, they have an office in Madrid, office in Boston, and if there are any issues, they have their 24-hour hotline. If there's any problems with flights, they take care of it and they smooth it over. One time when we were in Costa Rica, before we went, they said, well, we couldn't get you out. We were supposed to leave on a Saturday. They couldn't get us out till Sunday. Well, they took care of everything. We didn't have to pay extra, and we stayed an extra night. And they smoothed it over, makes it a lot easier.
Excellent.
But one of the advantages this year is that if we hope to have most of it wrapped up by April 12th, as far as interest in students and commitment, the price cannot go up. Usually with these programs, sometimes there's a fuel cost that if the airlines pass it on to they'll pass it on to the company, and then the company passes it on to our students. This year, if we are all in by then, it won't go up. They guarantee that. And it's right in the packet too, I believe, on the second page. Yeah, participants registered by. Actually, it's not 4/1 anymore. They just told me that it would, as long as they're there by April 12th. So I thought that was an extra benefit.
Thanks for making this available to our students. That's great.
I felt it was, we've had some students come in and some parents come in and talk to the parents and the kids to, not just to hear it from us, but hear it from people that participated.
Excellent.
Entertain a motion if there are no other questions.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the AAH field trip to Madrid, Spain in April of 2014.
Second.
Yes, Liz.
I have to say, I just need to, because I'm not going to be voting for this, and I feel like I should explain it. I have to say that you had your students come in. It sounded like a fantastic trip. It was a wonderful opportunity, and it will be a wonderful opportunity. I give you so much credit for doing this, because it is, I'm sure, a little bit strenuous when you go over there, when you're trying to take care of all these kids. The reason I have to vote against it is, for the reason I voted against it last year, was because the families that you're staying with, there's no opportunity for a Cory check to be done. And so that is really the only reason. However, I saw the look on the kids' faces that came in here to explain it and talk about their experience, and it was wonderful. So thank you very much for offering to do this.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you so much.
Great. The next trip request is to West Forks, Maine. Miss Ashley Gore is here this evening, as is Ms. Donahue, Assistant Principal. This is going to be the second annual senior class whitewater rafting trip. If you remember, they went last year. This is a slightly shorter trip, but it will get them back in time to participate in the Memorial Day Parade. So I don't know if you have any questions for Ms. Gore.
Good evening. I also would like to begin by congratulating Brendan and the cast and crew of South Pacific. It was truly marvelous. For any of you that didn't get to see the show, it was fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here this evening in lieu of Principal Hanfield, who is on another trip. He is with the Model UN in Washington, D.C. for 5 days. So I've come to represent Auburn High School. Ashley Gore is our current senior class advisor, along with Annette Lemrys. And both her and Annette, as the junior class advisors last year, went on this trip to Maine. And so I brought Ashley along, if she could just give me a little overview of what the trip entails.
So last year it was 2 nights. This year it will be 1 night, leaving on Tuesday, May 28th, and returning the following Wednesday night around 9 p.m. Basically getting there, getting everyone situated, chaperones and students in bunks and things that are provided, and then having a dinner that night, and the following day would be whitewater rafting. After the whitewater rafting, which starts, we get a very early breakfast, then we go right to the river, and we come back around, I think it was around 2 o'clock. We eat a late lunch, and then instead of spending the second night, we are going to get everyone dry, all that stuff ready, and back on the bus to come back to Auburn. And we should be back, as I said, around 9 p.m. So slightly shorter, but still great experience. The rafting is still there, which I know you guys are excited about. So yeah, lots of stories were passed on, from the students from last year. So, and it is once again free for every senior in the school. So we're continuing that.
And I will caution the seniors to bring along your bug spray. I know it was hospitalized the next day, as I recall.
And I'm going back.
Not a joke.
No, that's not a joke. But yeah, we didn't realize that the mayflies, I believe,
Were as big as I am.
hatched early. But this year we're prepared for those types of things, and we didn't. We have all the bug spray and everything now, so.
Oh, I remember Mr. Hanfield before us last year.
Yeah, he had all the bites,
Yeah.
Well, we made the mistake of not bringing the bug spray into the raft, but this year we have the plastic baggies to make sure that it doesn't get wet and that we can use them while we're floating at the relaxing part of the end of the rafting experience. Instead of so.
But you know something, I heard stories from the kids that came back, and, that was not they might have said the bugs were bad, but that was really not the highlight of the trip. They had a great time.
They loved it, yeah. It was great.
I'll make the
Any other
motion that we
questions?
approve the trip.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are we taking the Beijing?
Yeah, I'm just going to give a quick report on that, yeah. The next item, I just wanted to share with you a letter that was received regarding the Beijing students' trip here to the high school. As noted here, it was a extremely positive experience, as has been previously reported, so I just wanted to share that with you. And I also did want to report to you that I've been in communication with Mr. Hanfield, and they have arrived safely in DC earlier this afternoon, and I have wished them luck on behalf of all of us. The next item is, I wanted to bring to your attention that the Auburn High girls ice hockey team won the 2012-2013 Sportsmanship Award. As you know, this is our youngest of our varsity teams in terms of the number of years that it has been in existence, and really is a tribute to the young ladies and their coaches. obviously exemplifying respectful play and integrity and all of those characteristics that we embody as a school district as a whole. So I did provide for you here just a sample of a letter. Each of the student athletes and their coaches received that letter from me.
Chair, if I may, I just want to make a comment. I'm so happy about this because this has been a long struggle for these girls and trying to get the girls' ice hockey team up and running strong. So kudos to them. I'm really happy for them.
The next item, just to make you aware of, there was recently what was termed an AWE-STEM conference that took place at Worcester Polytech in Worcester. And we did have a representative, Christine Robbins, who is a math teacher at Auburn Middle School, actually was there invited to participate in the second annual AWE-STEM conference and represented us extremely well. So I congratulate her as well as the entire middle school STEM Academy team members who are working vigorously to expand our offerings at that level, and quite honestly, those across the district as well. And then the next item, I included in here for you a copy of a letter that you had asked me to send, and I gladly did so, to all of our coaches to thank them, as well as Mr. Garno, for the leadership and role modeling that they provide for our students.
Moving on to unfinished business.
At your seats this evening, you should see, and I've noted in blue, the updates that I made as a quick progress update in terms of the goals. If you remember, the educator plan, we're part of the new educator evaluation system through regulations from the Board of Elementary and Secondary Ed. So I've provided for you an update as to progress to date, as well as some accompanying documentation regarding the first one is the advanced placement offerings, and it's some comparative data with other Southern Worcester County school districts, or high schools, I should say, as well as information regarding STEM activities. The commitment was to add at least one additional STEM activity at each of our schools or initiative, and as you can see from here, we've far exceeded that. So I share it with you as an update to the progress that has been made and continues to be made. Reminder regarding bus applications that are due May 1st. And just to give you an update regarding counts, last year on this day, we had received 232 applications, and to date this year, as of today, we've received 219. It's gone home to families in a couple of our email notifications and will continue to do so. It's posted on our website, and we've also sent a hard copy home with families as well.
Can you just explain that any family, whether they are required to pay or not, have to fill out that form?
Yes. The requirement is that all families who have children who will ride the bus must complete the form, regardless of whether their fee may be waived due to free or reduced lunch status or due to their proximity to the schools. So anyone who does not submit the application by the May 1st deadline will be assessed a $50 late charge. And if you remember last year, the late charges ran into the thousands of dollars, and I know that it's our goal mutually that if we got no late charges collected, I think that would be the ideal, certainly. So the reason for the reminders.
And just to reiterate that, even if they're getting the fee waived, if they're late, they pay the late fee.
Anyone who does not submit by May 1st pays the fee, correct, the late charge, yes. In terms of school building committee update, we actually went to MSBA last Thursday. It was for the project scope and budget review meeting, and it was a very successful meeting that took place there. We actually, just before tonight's meeting, had a school building committee meeting at which they approved warrant articles, and they'll be here for you for your consideration to co-sponsor with those and with the SBC, and those were unanimously approved by them. I also reported on, and it's not in your packet regarding my goals update, but I can certainly email it to you, is a listing of the presentations and poster board displays that have been made to date for the Auburn Middle School project. Earlier today, we were at the Senior Center, Mr. Page was there, and there were probably a dozen or so people in attendance.
Oh,
to
yeah,
say?
definitely.
Yeah,
More
maybe
than a
even,
dozen.
even more than that.
Yeah.
And there were a number of great questions that were asked and answered. We go to the Life Care Center on Friday to present to them. We did have our first open presentation community forum that was held on Monday night at the high school at 7:30. Unfortunately, we only had one community member in attendance, but we're hopeful that at the future ones, we will have more in attendance, and we will be presenting to the Board of Selectmen on Monday night at 8 o'clock and to the Finance Committee on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock as well. So all of the presentation dates are posted on the website, and we have press releases that go out weekly in the Auburn News as well as on local cable access. So there are a number of ways to see when it is that we're going to be providing those.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I know that when we were taking part in this process out at Bay Path, we had a frequently asked questions sheet, and I don't know if we have anything like that, but it's a very handy tool, and it doesn't have to be very lengthy, but it kind of helps out, some of the townspeople with understanding exactly why, without them having to read any type of a brochure.
We do have a one-page fact sheet. It's not necessarily frequently asked questions, but we could certainly put something together along that line and distribute it widely. We do have on the website a question and answer section, so if anyone goes on the website and poses a question, it can be, the question will be noted there as well as the answer. So that should be posted. We did receive in a couple of questions, and by the end of the week, the answers will be posted there.
Okay,
Yeah.
just something like that, and then some simple hard facts that it's easy for us or anyone else who's in support of it to relay on to whoever they might come across between now and the time the vote goes out.
Great. We can definitely put that together.
Thank you.
There are no new updates to report regarding the budget other than following, well, I shouldn't say that, so there is a new report to share. Following the presentation to the Finance Committee on Wednesday, Chairperson Hussey has asked that the school department, Mr. Didi and I present the school department's budget to them as we do annually. So I share that with you and invite you to that. We are doing the presentation regarding the middle school project at 7 o'clock, and I'm not sure at what point in the agenda, but shortly thereafter we'll be presenting the FY14 budget to them.
What date is that? I'm sorry.
Wednesday, March 27th. And that will be at Town Hall in this Board of Selectmen's room.
See you there.
Great. And then next are the warrant articles to be approved. You had approved the first set, but asked that they be brought back, and those are the ones that are regarding, just see my packet here. Those are the ones that Mr. Didi had presented regarding the Medicaid receipts, as well as the gym and Health and Recreation Trust Fund, as well as those for the McKinney-Vento Act. So there are those three there that I recommend your approval for, but then additionally at your seats, you will see 3 warrant articles. These, the intention being to jointly submit them or sponsor them from the school building committee as well as the school committee. The first one is taken directly from MSBA's required language, and this would actually be, and I put on the reverse side what the motion would actually read on town meeting floor. This is, what you need to do is to appropriate for the full project amount. As you know, the school building committee through MSBA will be receiving 58.61% reimbursement from MSBA on eligible costs. So therefore, the town of Auburn will be responsible for 41.39% of the cost. The second warrant article is to remove from stabilization for the acquisition of the land in the back here, the 6.5 plus or minus acre parcel from the Auburn Masonic Charitable Association, the amount being $325,000. And if you remember at the fall special town meeting, $600,000 was set aside in stabilization. At that time, negotiations were not yet complete, so there are ample funds available for this. And then the third one is in terms of authorizing the Board of Selectmen requesting to authorize the Board of Selectmen to execute the deeds. It's only the Board of Selectmen who can actually purchase land, but this would be in support. And I do want to bring to your attention the recommended motion on these. The MSBA article does need to receive their approval before going on the warrant, even though it's their language. They want to make sure that nothing is altered in it, but also will be reviewed by both town and bond council. So there's a potential for some minor tweaks, which happen as well with the ones that we present on an annual basis. But it is my recommendation that you approve all 6 of those.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What is the vote?
Thank you.
We can move on to new business.
Under new business, you note here that there are a number of events, as usual, that are taking place, and we did try to include in here those that are the presentations that are upcoming for the middle school project. Mr. Auburn is noted on here. And also, in addition to what Brendan had reported, the elementary all-town chorus concert will be this Friday evening at 6:30 at the high school. The one that Brendan had mentioned is for the high school students, correct?
Yep. That's correct.
So I would be happy to answer any questions, and also do draw your attention to the fact that Community Reading Day celebrations as well as kindergarten screenings are taking place, certainly both a sure sign of spring, even if the ground and the precipitation suggests otherwise.
Is there anyone else that has anything to do with business?
I do. if I
Yes.
may. Just a comment, I had the opportunity, and I'm a little behind on reading up on my newspapers and things, but I had the opportunity to read the Auburn News this past weekend, and just wanted to make a comment about the coverage on the inventors in the elementary schools.
Yeah.
Some of those inventions were just really neat. I mean, I saw the pictures and the, excuse me, and the inventors behind them and stuff, and it was very good coverage. Thank you, Auburn News. I mean, the coverage was really good, but just looking at the pictures and all the inventions and, you know, you could just tell how proud the kids were at their faces and everything. So I just thought that was just really exciting.
It is. It's
good
very
stuff.
creative. I was
Yeah.
not able to attend this year, but it is an event I always relish attending. The kids are very proud of what they do, and some really creative inventions that they come up with. It's
Yeah.
great,
So
great
it's
fun.
neat.
We can now move on to the business and financial report.
Sure, I'm going to take a couple of these items. Mr. Didi will actually be joining us. He had an issue to be addressed. So the first item is some transfers for recommendation for you for your approval. The first set do not require your approval, but as we always do, I share them with you to keep you open and transparent in the process. But the second set from the 2000 and the 4000 series, I would require your approval for those, and it is my recommendation that you do so.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the transfers as recommended by the business manager.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
What is the vote?
I'm actually going to skip down to, with your permission, to the year-to-date budget report. This report was run on March 14th, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding it. Okay, great. The next item, in terms of, and this has become a regular sharing that we have done in terms of the oil and natural gas updates. We do continue to realize savings in these accounts, even though we've had some a little bit colder weather here and there, but we do continue to see some savings. So, as Mr. Didi has mentioned previously, we'll be bringing forward recommended transfers on those so that those savings can be put back into classrooms impacting students. And then finally, in terms of informational items, There is a CIP update report that has been prepared. Mr. Didi and I and Mr. Fahey meet fairly regularly regarding these different projects. And once the recommendation comes forward to school committee, and we're hoping that that will happen on the April 3rd school committee meeting from the master plan building team, and then the hopeful approval of the middle school project on May 21st and May 7th. Some of these projects that we have kept in abeyance until those decisions are made, we'll be able to get working on with a vengeance.
If I may, through the
Yes.
chair, just in regards to the CIP balances, Dr. Brunel, it just seems like every spring town meeting we have, there's always a community member that this is a thorn in their side. So I just ask that you and the business manager just really be prepared to address any of the questions that might
Sure.
arise from this, because it just seems like this pops up at every
Sure.
meeting, so
Sure.
thank you.
It does, and I truly am hopeful that once the recommendation comes from the master plan team, it's really out of an effort to not spend money or not spend large sums of money on buildings that may come
Understand.
offline,
Yep.
you know, so, but we will be sure to address that.
Yes, thank you.
Did you want to move to policies?
I think so, yeah.
Clean that up?
That would be great.
Basically, what I'd like to see us do today, if it's in agreement with the rest of the committee, I'd like to take the DEC executive sessions on second reading, the GBEBC gifts to and solicitations by staff on second reading, and the GBEC drug-free workplace policy on second reading, and bundle those three together and take the last two separately, if that's okay.
Sounds good to me.
That's fine.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept those first three policies that I just read.
I'll make a motion to accept the first three policies that Jeff had read.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on those? All those in favor?
Aye.
It is a unanimous vote. And now, just because we have had some, well, I think the first one will be fine, but I'll entertain a motion to accept the BDG legal counsel on first reading.
I make a motion to accept that on first reading.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any
Aye.
discussion on
Aye.
that? Aye, it is a vote. Any issues with it? And the last one, I know that we had some, so I would ask, I'd entertain a motion for the public participation at school committee meetings policy on first reading, and if there is any discussion, and then we could take a vote on that. I know we broke this down at our last meeting.
Yeah, I'll begin the process by making the motion to accept BEDH on second reading.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on how this is presented to us today? There being none, how do we vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
I oppose.
And the last two things would be under the business and financial. Before we go into executive session, is that something you want to address now, or you want to wait till the next meeting?
One item that I would like to bring forward to you, I'm going to leave the E-rate issue to Mr. Didi. He actually, I think, was going to be providing you some additional documentation this evening, and I would, oh, you did include it in here, okay. Okay, so it is in front of you in hard copy, so I am comfortable then bringing this forward to you for your approval. The E-rate application actually provides reimbursement to the district for different electronic services that we utilize in terms of telephone, the internet service as well. And the rate of reimbursement that we receive is based based on our free and reduced lunch population, and there's a calculation that goes into that as well. So what Mr. Didi has prepared is the actual E-rate application document. Mr. Bouvier, as Technology Director, also participated in this as well. We will be receiving in the vicinity of 40% reimbursement, which is a positive rate for us and helps actually reduce the cost. So it is my recommendation that you approve that as presented by Mr. Didi.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What is it vote?
And then the final item is the omnibus approval, and this is something that as a committee you have approved in the past, but we've done it later in the year. And the reason for asking for it sooner is the fact that, as we all know, Mr. Didi will be leaving the Auburn Public Schools as of May 31st. So we are making concerted effort, the entire team, including the business office, but all of us as administrators, to close out the books and get everything as cleaned up as much as possible to have things in good shape before his departure. So it is my recommendation that you approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve, and I'm talking about it.
I'll second that for discussion.
Dr. Brunel, what is the last school committee meeting that he will be attending prior to his departing?
We actually have school committee meetings in May, on May 1st, May 15th, and then the May 22nd meeting is typically reserved just for the reorganization because the election will take place on May 21st, and that meeting has typically been just to appoint a chair and vice chair.
I'm sorry, so what's the meeting before the 22nd?
May 15th. So the remaining meetings would be, as they currently stand, April 3rd, April 10th, May 1st, and May 15th.
Okay. And on his departure on May 31st, who will be picking up the responsibility of the transfers and things? I mean, I'm sure the job will be broken out
Sure.
amongst different people, but...
Yeah, it would be coordinated through me, but from the business office. So certainly Mrs. Turcott and Mrs. Moran would have a tremendous responsibility in doing this. But our goal is to try and, we've always set a goal of trying to close down purchase orders and such by April 1st, so that way allows ample time for materials to come in, purchase orders to be processed. And I think what this will do is help us realize that goal, perhaps.
I personally would like to amend this to only give the approval up to the May 15th, only because if we have any questions or anything, he'll be gone. We won't have the opportunity to talk to him after the 15th. I mean, we could offline, but in a meeting as a full committee, the last opportunity we'll have will be the 15th. So I personally, not that I don't trust or anything, but I would prefer that the approval only go up until our last meeting on the 15th in case we have any questions, because his authorization after that fact, we won't have the opportunity to oversee until after he's gone. That's just a recommendation I would like to make.
Very good point.
So you want to amend your motion?
Yeah, I'd like to amend the motion to say March 25th through May 15th.
Do you have a second on that?
Second.
You had a question?
No, I didn't. I don't know if I needed to amend the second.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Take your pick, Elaine.
Great.
Well, we do have to go into executive session, so I would entertain a motion. Roll call vote.
Is it just what's on the bottom here?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to discuss strategy with regards to negotiations with non-union personnel.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ribbons?
Yes.
Mrs. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Scobie?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Laurie?
Yes. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
It was in the package.
Right?
We'll return to open session only to adjourn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Well,
Good night, Brendan.
Good night, Brendan, thanks.